core flespi entities, channels, devices, and plugins. So in this session, we will speak about flespi gateway as a telematics hub. As a telematics hub, flespi gateway does the following. It receives data from connected remote telematics device, GPS trackers, parses protocol-specific packets into JSON messages, applies custom modifications to the parsed messages, and registers and stores the parsed messages. And as a result, you receive telematics data available for your integrations through flespi API in handy JSON format. And the core entities that implement this functionality are channels, devices, and plugins. So next we will take a look at the scheme of flespi gateway and see how they operate all together in the composition of the gateway. This is not the scheme of the gateway. The scheme of gateway is rather similar, but a little bit complicated. This is remote telematic device tracker. Flespi channel provides host and port where the trackers are connecting to. This is flespi channel. It parses data received from the trackers, puts the data into the messages storage of the channel, and also registers to the corresponding flespi device. Flespi device has own messages storage. Each flespi device keeps messages received from a particular GPS tracker. And this is one more entity. This, despite it's drawn here as humble ellipse, this is quite powerful entity because flespi plugin applies various transformations to the messages received from the device. So the scope of the current session are the entities that operate on flespi platform layer, channels, devices, and plugins, and these entities are responsible for populating the gateway with telematics messages received from the tracker and with your applications then. So first entity is flespi channel, and flespi channel is an entry point for the data in flespi gateway. A kind of this. This is how a flespi channel looks. This is actually my channel. I have a personal Teltonika tracker. It is connected to this channel, and I will use it in my examples today. Each channel has protocol. These are transports that are supported by the protocol, and these are host and port of the channel. Each flespi channel provides unique host and port where you connect your trackers to. Host name is resolved into one of IP addresses of two flespi data centers. If the tracker doesn't support connecting to host name, you may use either one of these two IP addresses. But we recommend to connect trackers to host name. In this case, connections will be automatically routed to one of flespi data centers, and regardless the actual data center the tracker is connected to, channel will receive telematics data, parse, and we receive a telematics message, parsed message. What is a message in flespi? Message is a set of telemetry parameters related to a specific point of time and expressed in JSON format. This is how messages look in flespi. This is my channel, logs and messages tab, bottom part. This is a selected message. This is JSON with message parameters. In channel message, always contain the following message parameters. Ident, this is usually AMI or serial number of a tracker. Timestamp, this is a point of time when the tracker recorded this message. Server timestamp, this is a point of time when channel received this message. Channel ID, protocol ID, peer. Peer, this is IP address and port from where the tracker is connecting. And the other message parameters originate from the tracker. So we in flespi tried to create a unified set of message parameters across all supported protocol, so that regardless of the tracker you use, you always receive expected parameters under the same parameters names. For example, battery level in parameter battery level, position as position latitude, position longitude, vehicle's ignition as parameter engine ignition status, and so on. And we partly succeeded with this idea. We created a really big set of unified parameters, but still the world of trackers is so versatile, and trackers always have their own peculiarities, that not all parameters actually may be unified. That's why we provide information about the parameters, message parameters that you may expect for your protocol, for your trackers, under parameters tab inside channels info. The name of the parameter, usually they are self-descriptive, types and units, description in concordance with the manufacturer documentation, and also we provide a source of the parameter. This is information about the module of the protocol from where this parameter comes. So this is Teltonika channel. The module is, the source is the list of AVL IDs that carry this corresponding parameter. For example, for Quick Link protocol, there would be a list of report codes, and so on. We previously had a lot of questions from our users where this or that parameter comes from, and that's why we added this information into the message parameters table, so that you can always understand what the value carries this or that parameter. This because we wanted flespi to be transparent and coherent for you. And a little bit more about transparency. We really want flespi to be transparent, so that you can always understand what is going on inside your channels. That's why we provided you with debugging tools, useful and handy. The first tool is pretty ordinary. This is channels logs, all the events that happen with connected trackers, connections, disconnections, identifications, parsing errors, whatever, as well as the events with the channel itself, channel created, updated, blocked, unblocked. All these events are reflected in the channel's logs. So if you need to debug any issue, the first place you should look into are channel's logs. And the other instrument is a raw traffic viewer. Traffic viewer shows everything what is happening between the tracker and the channel. Connections, disconnections, raw packets sent from the tracker to the channel, and responses from the channel, heartbeats, comments, everything. So we are really proud to give you this tool, and I believe flespi is the only telematics platforms that shows raw data to its users. This is because we wanted flespi to be transparent for you, and you have ultimate understanding in control on what is happening with your connected trackers. So this is again scheme to remind you. We have talked about channels. The next thing is flespi devices. Device in flespi is a digital copy of a real physical tracker. This is my device. Each flespi device contains all the message that was received from a corresponding physical tracker. Each device have two key configuration fields, ident and device type. These two fields uniquely define the flespi device where the channel message will be registered to. For example, if my Teltonika channel receives a message with this ident, then this message will be registered into this device. So you may ask, why do I need to create devices in flespi? Because channel has already parsed the telematics data, and I may consume them via channel API. But with devices, you receive a series of nice features. Devices provide dedicated long-term messages storage and telemetry. With devices, debugging is even more easy and handy. Devices provide you with the possibility of backward communication to the tracker, commands and settings. With devices, you may use plugins and apply various transformations to the received messages to fine-tune them to your custom needs. And also, with devices, you may use flespi analytics and extract intervals such as trips, stops, geofence ins and outs, etc. So analytics is a very big separate topic. It will be covered later today in the dedicated session. And now let's take a look to the other points. Messages storage of device stores messages received from a particular GPS tracker. This is messages of my device. They're pretty similar to that of the channel. Logs and messages part, top of the device, bottom part. Messages in the device have just three more additional system parameters: device ID, device name, and device type ID. And the other parameters is the same that in the channel. Each device is capable of storing up to 10 gigabytes data per device and up to 10 years of history. And there is one more difference between the messages storage of device and messages storage of a channel. Messages in the messages storage of device are sorted by timestamp. So this is a really time series database. Whereas messages in channel storage are just sorted by the server timestamp, so they are kept in the order they were received. So messages storage of a channel is just a buffer that keeps messages. And that's the difference. And to manage size of messages storage of device, you may use messages time to live and messages rotation size settings on the edit tab of the device. Another feature of flespi device is telemetry. Telemetry keeps the set of last known values of each parameter of the device with corresponding timestamp. With telemetry, you may quickly initialize a device in your application. For example, quickly load the last known position, quickly draw the last known position of the vehicle on the map without the need to iterate messages back to the history looking for the last message with position, or without the need to keep this data on your side. And also, values from telemetry may be used to fill the gaps in the messages when the tracker doesn't send some required messages in each packet. Then plugins will add this message parameter with the last known value. And this is a telemetry tab. As an example, system parameters that are added by flespi platform are shown in gray here. The other parameters originate from the tracker. The older parameter is, the darker the plate. So, the next feature is a possibility of backward communication to the tracker. This is possible with commands. Commands in flespi may be sent either in real time. This is applicable for those devices that almost always are online, that keep connection. For example, for the trackers installed in the kick scooters of electric scooter sharing service. Commands may be put to the commands queue and delivered to the tracker as soon as it connects to the channel. This is more applicable for the trackers that connect to the channel from time to time, for example, asset trackers, and also may be sent by SMS. In this example, I'm sending getVer command to my tracker. As soon as the tracker is connected, I'm sending real-time command. And I'm receiving a response. This is a command result with the response received from the tracker. Also, in the logs of device, there are corresponding entries that showing that the command was sent to the device and the response was received, and the response itself. And these are raw packets that was sent as a comment to the tracker and the response received from the tracker. This is just as another illustration of transparency of flespi platform. One more feature of device is settings. Settings, actually, it is a remote configurator of device. Flespi reads configuration server settings of the device and stores the values and provides you with an interface to change the configuration of device without connecting the device to personal computer. Settings are very device specific. This is what is almost impossible to unify. This is, as an example, data acquisition parameters of my tracker, and I may change them right from here. So in this article, you may find more information about configuration, remote configuration of the connected devices, and we will not stop more here. So, just to remind, we have spoken about channels, devices, and now let's proceed with plugins. Also, flespi plugin is a separate, independent entity in the flespi gateway. Plugins work in conjunction with flespi devices. That's why they are drawn together on this scheme. So, what does flespi plugin do? They transform messages before they are registered into the device and before they are published into platform-wide MQTT database. And with plugins, you may apply various transformations to the messages and tune them. For example, remove some parameters from the messages, add new calculated parameters, add missing parameters with values from device's telemetry, add static fields to devices' messages, for example, customer IDs or something like this. With plugins, you may apply reverse geocoding or geocoding based on cellular base stations or Wi-Fi points. And this is my favorite. With plugin, you may apply any custom parsing of parameters with your own code. And this really gives you almost unlimited possibilities of messages transformation. And to illustrate, I will show you several examples. The first plugin, we have a message with a button code. A button code is a driver code, but some trackers may send a button code with the reversed bytes order comparing to that written on the iButton itself. This happens. And this is an issue, and this issue may be solved with such plugin. This is a plugin that reverses the order of bytes of this in the value of this parameter and registers correct value. As a result, we receive a button code with correct value, and now you may identify the driver. Another example. In this example, we have a sensor, external sensor that is connected to the tracker, say via RS-232 interface. This sensor sends its measurements to the flespi channel as payload transparent to the tracker, and flespi channel stores these measurements as payload text parameter. But for your application, you need to have all these parameters parsed, to have them as separate message parameters. This is also achievable with a special plugin. As soon as I know the how the payload is constructed, I may parse it and store separate values into separate message parameters. As a result, you may see now this payload is parsed, message parameters with meaningful names in devices messages and in devices telemetry. Another example, it is an example of reverse geocoding. I have a message with position, and I have a plugin that applies well-known reverse geocoding functionality and resolves address and adds the address as VLON address parameter into the message. We in flespi have not only a VLON geocoding plugin, but a series of others. So, we have looked into some examples. We saw how plugins work. And now you probably have a question, what if I need to make several transformations? May I attach several plugins to a device? Yes, this is possible. One device may have several plugins attached to it. In this case, plugins are applied according to their priority. The more priority is, the earlier plugin is applied. And priority, along with messages validation, allow to build complex solutions based on plugins chains. And I will show you another example. These are two plugins. They are quite self-descriptive. The first plugin with higher priority applies reverse geocoding only if 60 seconds has passed since the last geocoded message. This achieved with validate message field. It checks expression timestamp minus VLON address timestamp. If it's greater than 60, then this message is reverse geocoded, and VLON address parameter is added to the message. The second plugin attaches timestamp to the messages that was geocoded. This is also achieved with validate message expression. It checks if VLON address parameter is present in the current message, and in this case, stores current timestamp into VLON address timestamp parameter. And altogether, these two plugins resolve address no more often than once per minute. This is needed so that not to exhaust access to geocoding service. So such example may seem rather complex and inobvious, but you should remember that we are always ready to assist you in our support chat. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nadzeya. Do we have questions from the audience? All right, a couple questions here. All right.
Microphone.
No, Petar, go.
Alexei mentioned earlier that we should use REST over MQTT. Can you just elaborate a bit more on the reasons why we should do that?
I think you will receive the answer on these questions in the later sections.
Excellent.
This is not what I was explaining, but keep your question. Is a good question.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be most relevant for the next session, Petar. Alexander.
Yeah, hi. Alexei mentioned earlier that Nadzeya Mikhailava is on maternity leave, right? And he told us something about work-life balance in flespi. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, in maternity leave there are not enough work. I need to add a little more.
Thank you.
So thank you for your question.
Jorge.
A little bit out of the ignorance. One channel for any Teltonika device?
Yes, you may connect all Teltonika devices that work over the same protocols to one channel. And this is really how flespi is designed. But there are some Teltonika devices that work over different protocol, for example, MQTT. And that's why you need to create MQTT. We have another protocols. So all the devices that work over the same protocol may be and should be connected to the same channel up to connection limits.
Okay.
But can I create several channels with same protocol? Like several Teltonika channels, and configure some devices to send information to one protocol, channel, and other devices to another channel. Is it possible?
Yes, it's possible. Sure, you may
Why? Here's a question. Why? Because, for example, some devices are encrypted using TLS, and others no. So, in theory, I can create secured
secure channel,
and another like
without
non-secure.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Basically.
disregarding of what the channel your tracker is connected, your device will receive this message matched by ident and times the messages device type.
But there again comes with the money issue. Because more channels, more money, right?
Yes. So you should. This is a point of optimization. More channel, definitely more money. Thank you for your questions.
Just a question about the plugins in general. You talked about the custom parameters. Are you able to reference if there's two devices that have a relationship, maybe there's a trailer and there's a in-cab vehicle tracker, are you able to reference a field from a different device altogether as a custom field?
I'm not sure that I get your meaning.
I think he's trying to make the connection between the tracker that is inside the truck and the tracker that it's on what it's hauling. He wants them to make one, right?
Correct, right. You could reference a field from a different device altogether as a plugin. I'm asking if that's a possibility.
You want to have in one flespi device messages from two different devices.
Yes.
This is as a result. Is this possible? But you will need to create quite a tricky setup. For example, you may subscribe with MQTT channel for messages of these two devices and join them into one MQTT device. So as a result, this is achievable, but this is not straightforward.
Okay.
I would rather say.
My name is Ignas, I'm with Teltonika. I would really like to say that you have a beautiful product over here. I think your whole team should be proud of what they did and what they're working on. And I have one question, obviously. I saw that, I think, message pool is around 6 terabytes of data right now, right? And you say you keep it for 10 years. How long can you keep it up with this? Your system is growing, and obviously you will have to think about this issue. Will you have some sort of archive or passive storage for it?
I believe we will solve this issue. We have already capacity so that you may grow.
I can
With the answer?
help you with the answer. Yeah.
Thank you.
6 terabytes are for GPS trace project only. On our status space, I believe it's around 17 or 18 terabytes of the data. But the answer is very straightforward. For each gigabyte of the data stored in flespi, we receive €1 per month. So it means that our clients are paying for the storage, and we give them the tools to control the storage. So it's very. So the more data they will store, the more money we'll have. The more money we will have, the more infrastructure we will provide.
Thank you.
Yes, please. Yeah, I think we'll take one more question before we'll move on to the next session.
So,
please.
question, what about if I delete by mistake the device? Do you have any backup? Is it possible to get it back? You know what I mean?
The data, right? The device.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
device, for example, and by mistake I will delete this device. If I delete this device, the data which is stored with the device will be automatically deleted as well, like all the calculators and everything. Is it possible? Do you have something like a recycle bin when I can take it back?
Calculators won't be deleted. This is separate instances. So if you delete a device, you lose messages of the
Yes.
device.
And data from calculators for this particular device.
Calculated
Like
data.
for example,
Yes.
I can delete like I don't know 1 year of the stored data just by my mistake. Is it possible to take it back? For example, like
I believe
do you have
at
something
the
like
moment we don't have
What about snapshots?
recycle bins.
Yeah, but we have these plans in the future.
Yes.
We already discussing it.
Okay, so
So
this would be nice. Thank you.
for now, just be careful.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much, Nadzeya.
Thank you.
Let's give Nadzeya another round of applause.
With that.